So you definitely nothing to do with fashion. Nothing.
I'm definitely nothing to do with
believe
fashion.
it.
I love colour.
Okay.
I love clothes.
The last time I seen you had knee-high boots on, leather pants on, a rucksack on. I was like, what the? I was like, has this woman got?
I do like a bit of leather. Yeah. You'll have to edit that out.
That's the opening gambit, Fiona. That's the intro. There's no way we're not letting that go. That is not getting edited out. I'm trying to remain calm because this guest has helped me out quite a lot in the very beginning when I started joining the BFA and when we were rebranding Tezlom, and she's been a really good help to me, and she's always been sympathetic and empathetic ear and really good for me. So I am a little bit nervous, if probably not the most nervous I've ever done a podcast with. I would really like you to please introduce yourself and what you do for a living, please.
Well, hello, Ryan. That's a lovely sentiment that you've just passed on. I'm glad that I've been able to help. I'm Fiona Boswell. I am a franchise lawyer, and I love franchising.
Yeah, you do. Okay, where do I start with this podcast? Tell me a little bit about what your role is, Fiona. How did you... I always try and figure it out, like, as a solicitor... Or is that your title, solicitor?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't solely focus on franchising, do you? Or do you do other bits as well, or do you just solely work on franchising?
I now solely focus on franchising.
Right.
I've had a long career in law, and I'm a partner now at Knights, and I have the joy of being able to really hone down and just stick to my niche, the niche I love, at long last.
I'm going to have to ask this question. Is there enough business for you to do that? Is there that much business on in franchising for you to do that?
Absolutely. Because franchise businesses are businesses.
Yeah.
And if you look at the number of businesses out there in and across all the sectors that businesses can operate in that are franchising, there are many. There are many more than most people ever realise, actually. And they have all sorts of contractual and commercial needs, because that's my background. I'm a commercial lawyer, and I deal with the contracts that franchise businesses need and the issues that they may have with those contracts. Yeah. And there are a whole host of them. So there's plenty of work in that, alongside the brand protection side as well. So, yes, there definitely is in franchising.
What if you had to pick something out of all that, what would be your favourite?
I love helping businesses grow.
Yeah, I thought it would be.
That's my favourite.
I think, I've said this before and I always say it sounds a bit cheesy, but I fundamentally mean it. I'm not blowing smoke at your ass. The franchise industry needs people like you. The UK franchise industry needs people like you, because at the very beginning you gave me some really good advice, and although we did do business with you, I think you were giving me that advice without any intention of getting any business at the time. I think it was just, this is what I think you need to do, this is how this means, and I was like, talk through things, and then you would give examples, not with names or anything, but what other people have been through, and trying to soften the blow, I think, sometimes of things that have happened or going to happen or going through at the time. And I think if I was a new franchisor growing my business, if someone came to me, and I always do in fact, said, do you know a good solicitor? I'd be like, well, Fiona Boswell, 100%. Not just because of the contractual side of it, just because of the knowledge of, you have that understanding of someone trying to grow a business and understanding to start being a franchisor.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I take a lot of joy in helping. I mean, these are proven, successful, operating businesses that are just trying to find a way to allow their businesses to expand. To me, franchising fixes a multitude of problems that business owners have at that stage of growth. And I love helping them along that journey. Yeah. And that can involve not just being at the very beginning of things, but actually taking a step up from going from 10 to 20 or going from the UK to overseas. They're all parts of that journey in franchising, and that's what I enjoy. Yeah,
there'll be some sticky parts, won't there? And some real exciting parts, but then some bits that are a bit more complicated as well, aren't there?
Yes, there is.
Okay. where do I start with this one? Kay asked me to ask you this question.
Don't you rope me into this.
So there's a couple of questions I want to ask you. Is why are you so fashionable and you're a solicitor? Because most solicitors aren't that fashionable. So I need to understand that. Because you're literally the coolest person at every expo or something like that. If you've not got a suit on.
If I've not got a suit on. Well, we don't wear suits anymore. Have you noticed that like the whole clothing thing for lawyers has completely changed? It baffles
a lot
me
of
on
like
a
even
daily
accountants
basis.
as well, they all wear hoodies and stuff.
It's totally different. It's completely
Would you go to
different.
court like that? If you ever go to court, would you?
I don't do court work.
Do you know?
But there is a need for slightly smarter clothing in certain situations. But yeah, on the whole, I like clothes. I'm not actually a big fashion person, but no, you wouldn't believe
you
me.
winding me up? Every time I see you, like you've just been to like a fashion show.
I don't hugely like shopping even, which is a funny thing to say. I'm more of an online girl. However, I like colour.
Yeah, can't tell.
There you go. Really?
I just every time I see you, I just wondered if there was some sort of, if you just see, I just like clothes and shopping, and they're like my things. Like if there's one thing that you can do, I do yoga and breathwork and class, but I'm quite happy. Just give me £500 and leave me in Zara for 3 hours.
Yes. Or
just let me go and walk around the Trafford Centre for a few hours, and I see that as just as much therapy as...
Well, retail therapy is really good. I've got 2 boys though, and I think my shopping experience changed considerably when it involves them. So I have a limited amount of time to actually choose clothing, and I have become very decisive, and hence I online shop.
It's funny because how old are your boys?
14 and 16.
Yeah. I think in the next few years they'll get a grip. Well, they might already do, but I know when girls get involved and going out gets to get involved, that fashion thing comes in. They want to look the part. So you might find next time you go shopping with them, they're trying to give you £1,000 pair of Gucci trainers, or they're trying to give you these Hugo Boss t-shirts and stuff.
That's already happening. I've introduced them to TK Maxx. It's perfect.
Because it's interesting that mine and Mum's relationship with fashion is very the same.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit more like I'll buy it straight away, and then she's a bit more like goes and sees the first thing and comes back around to it. But we both have that same thing. It's quite often I've caught Mum out in Southport doing the same thing as me. Just walking around TK Maxx or Marx's or something, because we're both like stressed and don't know where to go.
Yes. That's a good way. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah. It's funny, we've just been on holiday. I went to south of France with her, and we both had a drink, and we're walking around Valbonne, and was it on Thebes, and we walked past a sunglasses shop, and she ended up buying a pair of sunglasses and ended up buying me a pair of sunglasses, because we both love a bit of shopping. But tell me a little bit about Fiona as a child. What do you remember?
Fiona as a child. I was sporty.
Oh, yeah.
I loved sport. I loved dance. I did dance from the age of 3 till 18.
No, you didn't.
I did.
What dances
did
you did?
tap and modern.
No,
I
you didn't.
started ballet, and sorry for all the baby ballets and people out there, but I was a terrible ballet dancer. I found it a little bit boring, but I loved tap and I loved modern, and I did dancing, I did athletics, and I did netball. That was my thing. I was a sporty dude.
Where did you grow up?
Buckinghamshire.
Buckinghamshire. I don't know Buckinghamshire that well.
It's down south. I'm one of those southy people.
Yeah. Is Buckinghamshire? We've got an office in Hitchin.
Yes, that's in Buckinghamshire.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I thought it was. Yeah.
Yes.
What about Mum and Dad? Where they from?
My parents are Jamaican.
Jamaica.
They are from the West Indies.
No way.
They're very Jamaican.
Are they? Are they really?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. That's why you're cool. When did they come over to the UK?
My parents came when they were in their teens. My dad was 18 and my mum was 16 when she came to the UK.
Why? How come they came over?
Economic reasons. Slightly different reasons for both of them. My mum came for economic reasons, large family. It was a chance for them to have a better life. My grandparents came first. They had 6 children, and they sent for them all as they could to come over here to give them educational opportunities and job opportunities primarily. My dad's father was slightly different. He came to see what England was like.
Yeah.
They had quite a nice life in Jamaica already, and he actually made the decision to go back. Didn't like it,
No
thought
way.
I'll stay where I am. My dad and his brother came over, and they liked the chance to do something a bit different than what the rest of the family were doing, so they stuck around for a bit, and we're still here.
What's the job opportunities like in Jamaica? Is it very much tourism? I don't know Jamaica at
It's a
all.
lot of tourism.
Yeah, is it based hospitality
That's the
based?
main tourism and hospitality is the main crux of the industry.
So what did the
that's there
family
now.
do when they were? What did they do?
Agricultural. So my dad's side were very much on the orange farming.
No way.
Yeah, lots and lots of land and lots of orange farming. And there's a lot of agricultural work that still happens in Jamaica.
No way, I love that.
Yeah.
So your husband came over, wasn't your husband at the time, obviously, but what did he start off doing?
My husband's from the UK. We're
Oh,
from
right.
the same
your
hometown.
brother got mixed up.
And
Yeah.
my brother, we're all born here.
Right.
Yeah, just my parents that came from the West Indies and came over.
I've jumped around then. I'm going to get to your husband in a minute.
That's it.
So you came to UK and so did you come? So were you born in the UK? Your mum and dad came to Jamaica. You grew up in Buckinghamshire. What did your mum and dad do in the UK? That's what I was trying to get to.
Oh, my mum was a nurse and my dad worked in a factory.
Is your mum still working as a nurse?
No, she's retired
Oh.
now. They're all retired. In fact, she's had 3 careers. So she was a nurse, and then she was a clerk to the mayor, and then she was the manager of the multicultural centre. She's quite an amazing woman.
I love that. And then your dad?
My dad worked in a factory as the foreman in a factory
Nice.
and a paint sprayer.
So how did you end up being a solicitor then? Because I would have thought there was some sort of family connection there or something.
Not at all. I'm the first to go to uni in my
Are
family.
you really?
Yeah, I am. My parents were very aspirational. Education was everything it is to a lot of West Indian families.
Yeah.
It's your route
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
it's your route forward.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
from a very young age, they encouraged me to
Look.
keep my head in the books and get to learning. And I listened and I learnt from them. And if you come from a mainly immigrant background, you are often given 2 choices. If you're good on the academic side, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. And I was a lawyer. So my mum watched a lot of Crown Court. There you go.
I love that. Did you enjoy education? Well, you must have enjoyed education. Was it fun?
I did,
you?
actually.
Drink, sorry, Karen.
I was an academic nerd. I liked school.
You're not. Of course you're a nerd. You're a nerd, you. You can't be a solicitor and not be a nerd.
I liked school. I loved learning. Yes, I enjoyed studying.
See,
And
I
reading
was
a lot.
never an academic, but I also... So you've got kids now. Do you think schooling's better now? Or do you think did you enjoy school a lot?
I enjoyed school a lot. I think they got the balance right there, where you got sufficient academic, you had social engagement, thank you, and you also got the opportunity to spend time building social relationships with others as well, and having a life outside of school. I think the balance has got slightly skewed on the academic front. I think there's only so much you need to learn, and I would like to see schools focusing on real life skills, teaching people about mortgages, teaching people about investments, teaching the children
Council
how to lead
tax.
their lives and things, and so that they're financially grounded, and not just algebra and stuff that in real life not really going to use unless you're a mathematician.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I really didn't like school. I didn't like it at all. I think it was down to the teachers though. I actually didn't enjoy it because of that. I didn't like primary school, bullied a little bit, same with secondary school. But now my little boys go to school and they absolutely love it. But then I speak to the teachers, and I think because I'm an adult now and I've got a bit of a more mature understanding, I definitely think the teaching that goes on now is much better. Because I remember I'm quite dyslexic, and my little boy Jackson is as well, and the help he gets now compared to what I got, it's just night and day.
I completely agree with that. My eldest son has additional learning needs, and I think that the support that is available for young adults and children that need support in their education now is amazing. And I think back in the day, a lot of those issues weren't identified or were identified much later than they need to, which is a shame, because there's ways to access learning, and there's also lots of different ways that people learn.
Yeah, I remember there's a Mr. I think it was Mr. Walmsley, my English teacher, and I specifically remember just like hating his guts because I just hated it and could never. I always have this problem of like getting it out of my head and putting it onto paper, and I can read, but like getting the information out and putting it on a piece of paper was always difficult. And I think it was like just before my exams, I got the blue thing that you can put on the page to read a bit clearer. And I still do that if I need to. My little lad, funnily enough, he has green. But do I think if I'd known that from the first year, and I probably might have taken a different turn? But you can't regret anything, can you?
No, but it's made you the man you are now, Ryan.
Yeah.
If you'd sailed through school, you wouldn't be where you are. You wouldn't have learnt the lessons you've learnt. You wouldn't be able to run a business like you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just interesting. I don't know. I feel like also parents have a like your parents are ambitious and push you to do that education piece and push you through that. And then I think mum and dad. I remember my dad making me go and sell cars, and I think he knew exactly what I was going to do in the end. He just needed me to learn them lessons.
Yes.
I think I'm going to get my kids a franchise when they're old enough. That's my next one.
Yeah, well, I think they're a great way of you want to go into business these days. You need to think, well, certainly when I'm having the conversations with my own children, the benefits of going to university, depending on what you want to do, and the debt that you come out with and how inaccessible it is for certain people and certain economic backgrounds. It's not meant to be that way. It's meant to allow people to access education. That's my belief. I was able to access education and I was able to improve the way that I live, and others have followed me and been able to do some from modest backgrounds. And currently I don't think it's as accessible as it should be, and that's a shame because it's not meant to be like that.
What do you think they're going to do, your little lads?
I have no idea. My youngest, he's an artsy person. He likes his arts and humanities. He may become a lawyer. I don't know. He's not sure yet. My eldest, he's a sporty sort. He likes food. He likes science. He's a total opposite to me. He likes his science. He likes his maths. We'll see. Either way, they will do something they love. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's interesting when you become an adult and you get. I think I'm 42, and now I just think to them, just do something you're going to be happy with. Like, doesn't necessarily need to be the thing that earns you the most amount of money, because I think if you get good at anything, you can earn quite a lot of money.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point, isn't it? But I think my little lad Jackson's definitely going to be a hairdresser, or I don't know, graffiti artist, or some sort of tattooist, or creative something or other. I don't think he's going to be particularly bothered about earning. I don't think he's be very money orientated like a salesperson. Yes. Might almost manage to be like a surf shop owner or something like that. And then I think Logan's going to be the opposite way. I feel like he's going to be some sort of salesman somewhere, causing mayhem left, right and centre.
Yes.
It's just interesting how the brothers...
It's interesting, yes. Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. They're quite different, but it's interesting. They've got so many options these days, you know. I mean, my choices were relatively simple, and I'm happy with the choice I made. I love what I do. But they can do anything, and the world they're going into with AI and all the different options, it just changes everything. So it's great to have that much choice, but it must be quite overwhelming as well.
I think also, I think when we were at school, like you said, the choices weren't there now, but I think by the time in the next 5 to 10 years, it'll be interesting to see how the education system push people in careers and what they talk to people. Like, I wouldn't like to go to a careers fair now, or in 10 years' time. I think it'd be like a completely different ball game. There'd be just a bazillion different types of things you can do.
It's true. You remind me of an incident when we were at school and you do those quizzes where you have to answer all the questions to see what you should be when you're, an adult. Mine came out with a landscape gardener. Now, I do quite like gardening, but I do remember having a random conversation with our careers advisor at one of the places that I studied, and she did categorically try and dissuade me from being a lawyer. And I think it was because it wasn't any, no malice intended. I think she wanted me to open up my eyes to the realm of different options that there were available. But I liked the law. I felt it had a purpose, and I wanted to have a purpose.
Did you really? That's interesting at your age to think. Can we get a little bit deep?
Of course we can.
So I think your job should give you a lot of purpose. Now, you might completely disagree with me, and I do think, without being too sexist, it might be a woman thing. I've had this discussion quite a few times. Do you make your children? Are your children your life? Are your children your life? This isn't a trick question. You can just answer.
No, I have my view is that it's all life.
Yeah.
That they are all in part of my life, that my work, that my family, my children, my friends, it's all part of life. I make no lines and distinctions between it. Yeah. I have one phone number, I have one phone because it's all just life. I don't have a work phone and a home phone, it's life. Yeah. So I just have a phone.
Yeah. It's interesting, that, isn't it? Because I think, you've been successful in your career and you'll continue to be successful in your career for whatever, and you carry on being a solicitor, that's great. You might do something different in the years to come, but to get to be a partner in a law firm, you have had to concentrate on that career at some point. And being a mum, that must have been tough at points.
Yes, possibly, but I have to say that I think certainly my personal experience from my own family, everybody worked and everybody had to work. Yeah. And historically, we've always had to work and have children, whether that's women in fields with babies tied to their backs. Working and raising kids is part of the parcel. Yeah, so for me, not saying it wasn't challenging, not saying there were moments when it was very, very difficult, but you get on with it, you roll with it.
My mum's the same as that. My mum's the same as that. She kind of gets a little, I think I bring her upstairs and ask her the question, but I've seen her wriggle in her seat sometimes with some of the women who seem to have a different opinion on it, but I think everyone's allowed to do what they want. Yes. Everyone's allowed to do what they want, but I think sometimes it's how you're brought up and what you do. But I think children, I have the same view as you. My children aren't my life. Yeah. They are part of my life. My job is part of my life. My personal life is part of my life. But again, I've got one phone number and it's all the same thing. I really hate having to put these lines of distinction in place where I've finished work, I am no longer thinking about work, I am only thinking about my personal life, and I am going to be a dad. And I'm like, realistic terms, that's not going to happen. And then also, what does that mean? I can't think about my kids while I'm at work? Does that mean I can't speak to the school? Does that mean I can't read about notes at school? Can I not allowed to do that because I've put these boundaries in place?
Yes.
And I think that's what...
There's a fluidity. There has to be, because that's life. There's a picture here and here. It's the water, there's dinosaurs, there's a bridge. To me, that's the water flows. It makes no distinction. It just flows.
Yeah. I love that. I think you have to have that to a certain degree. Yes. But some people will completely disagree and be like, I need that. And I think that's okay as well. I think it's just down to you as an individual. But
what works for you?
Yeah, it's what works for you, isn't it? But do I think that you can have an all-blown singing career and have them boundaries in place? I just don't think you can, because it's like, I mean, I've not even talked about your husband yet, but to get your career and have children and flip that around and travel and do all that sort of stuff, I don't know what he does, but you'll have had to support each other loads of times.
Absolutely. My husband is my... we've been together since we were 16.
Have you really?
Yeah. So he's always been there. He was there first.
How's he coping? Is he okay?
Yeah.
Is he all right?
You cheeky son. Anyway, he's absolutely more than all right.
Podcast next.
He was there first. Oh, he'd talk you under the table. He's a proper chatter. Right? Yeah, he's good.
What's he do for a job himself?
He's in sales.
Is he?
He's in digital marketing sales, but he's always been in sales. That's his thing.
No way, I need to meet him.
Oh, you would. You'd love him, actually.
Yeah, I need to meet him.
You would.
So, 60 in school, and you met him at school?
Yeah, when I was at school, our parents had a fashion show and we were both models. That sounds really bougie, but it's not bougie. It was a community fashion show. My parents were in the same women's group. It was a charity fashion show. Oh. So, yeah, we were not like proper models.
And you just met each other there?
Yes, and he had the approval of my family, and here we are.
No way. I love that. It's such a love story, that, isn't it? So you left. So I need to try and get back to the journey. I'm trying to get your whole picture here. So, had enjoyed school, sports. Talk to me about sports.
For me, at school, netball. I was a big netballer. I loved netball. Favourite sport still is my favourite sport. Don't play it anymore because I can't commit to the to the time that's required to pay for a team or do tournaments. But I'd love to play tournaments if they had that occasionally, every now and again. But netball was my big thing, and I did a bit of athletics as well, sprinting. I am a descendant of Jamaicans, so of course, sprinting.
Do you run quite a lot?
I like to run and walk. I'm not a marathon runner by any means, more of a 5K and just get out there and walk. I like to be in nature.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's centering, it's necessary.
Can we scratch on that as well now, Fiona, a little bit? Because I'm trying to get you to break down a little tiny bit of your walls, tiny bit. How there must be stress involved in your job.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
How do you cope with the stress? If you were going to talk to a solicitor who was stressed, who were coming up in the ranks, what would advice you give them to be? How would you say to them? If you were talking to a younger Fiona, how would you say, would you cope with the things?
Have a solid base, have good friends, have good family, have people around you. Go for walks, take breaks. Give yourself a moment to reflect.
Yeah. Yeah, getting outside of reflection is a big one, isn't it? Yeah, Kay goes to walk every day just to cope working with me.
Very long walks.
But I have to go to the gym twice a day to cope with Kay.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah, and I think it's one of them things where it's funny. There's like a common denominator across pretty much every single person who's been on this across this table with me. Most of them do running of some sort, and most of them like getting outside.
I love getting
it's
outside.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I like yoga as well. I'm a big
said you
fan.
did yoga this morning.
Yeah, I do yoga every day. That's my thing. It helps me. What's good about yoga is it keeps me still. I'm not great at being still and stilling my mind. Yeah. So that's what it's good for.
Breathwork's amazing, isn't it? Breathwork.
I don't do enough breath work. You see, Kaylu, hint, hint.
She doesn't do enough breath work. She might promote it. You want to try and get her to do something in the morning, shocking hell. I think it's interesting. They're the bits that I always want to talk about. It's interesting that people have done great careers and they've got big businesses and blah blah blah. But sometimes it's always the bit. I think if you've been successful in your career, it's not always, you don't always want to hear about the successes all the time. You want to hear how people cope with the downs, don't you? And that's the bit that I try and sneak out of people, is because if you were thinking about being a training solicitor, there'll be points in that career that will be extremely difficult.
Yes.
I guess, is there like a workload, Fiona? Where would the workload come in being a solicitor? Where would it come in?
There's a steep learning curve when you start your journey in law. Yeah. When the training wheels come off, when you're not training anymore and you're responsible for the advice that you provide.
What's the tipping point, Fiona? What's the tipping point? Is it like you get your degree and that's it? No,
you get your degree. You then have an additional vocational course to do afterwards for a year or 2 years, depending on what type of degree you've got. And then you do 2 years training on the job. So there's quite a lot of a build-up before you are actually qualified. Yeah. And then the training wheels are off and you are starting that journey to build up a practice and build up a career in law.
How does it work? So you'll be like an apprentice, so to speak, whatever, get your qualification. I guess you do some placements on your degree. That's
right. You do 6 months in 4 different legal areas. So you might do employment, you might do contracts, you might do corporate, you might do property. And then after those separate 6 months, so that you can experience different types of law, you then decide which one you want to qualify in.
Yeah.
And you start your journey there. You don't have to stay there. That's what's great about law. It's flexible. Lots of people go from one type of discipline in law to another type of discipline, and each one is quite distinct. What a property lawyer does on a day-to-day basis is quite different to what I do as a franchise lawyer, and likewise a criminal lawyer does something quite different to an employment lawyer. So there's a lot to go at.
And then so you get your qualification, find a law firm, but probably the one that you did a placement with.
Yes, sometimes, and sometimes people choose move on to other terms, or they don't secure placement where they are. There are lots of flexible ways to do the law now. Some people work in businesses in-house and progress to do their training, etc., through that route. And there's also a new route coming through where you can actually be like an apprentice and do your courses whilst working, which means that people can save money and all, not coming out with all the debt of doing it through uni and postgrad courses, but can be working whilst they're achieving those qualifications as well.
Do you think there's a typical type of person profile that become a solicitor, or is it?
No. Totally diverse. It's one of those professions it still needs to be more diverse, but it's certainly more diverse than when I came into it. But I don't think there is. No, it attracts all sorts.
Yeah, they're all mad. I think every franchise solicitor is slightly mad in their own way. Mittman, you, John. They're all. There's not one of you that's like quite boring. Really.
No, we're all a little bit mad. That's why we're in franchising.
I bet it's unusual, isn't it? Sometimes if you go against each other, but I guess it's you must find some peace.
No, it's good. I mean, I'd say having practiced for as long as I have, the circle of peers that are in franchising, you all know each other. Yeah. We're all civil to each other. It's a friendly bunch.
It's mad, isn't it, though? Because you're like killing each other in the courtroom or off the court, like trying to get each other, and then next, you doing? You all right? Cup of tea? You all right? No.
That's the job.
Mad, that, isn't it?
It's the job.
Mad. Okay, so you do. So I'm just trying to figure out the career. So you do your practice, you do your qualification, do your 2 years apprenticeship, and then you tip into it. And then how do you gain business as a solicitor at that point? Then how does that happen?
You work with someone that has a client base at the start, so that you can build up your experience and your expertise.
That's a bit like a financial advisor, like a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You're sort of learning on the job with them, supervised, so that you're not completely stressed out.
Will they give you some of their clients to help with, kind of thing?
They will give you the work and supervise the work that you do to make sure that it's right, give you some comfort in it, so that you can really learn whilst you're at the earlier stages, and then in pretty much next to no time you're out there building up your own client base. That's part of the skill of doing it, and certainly in my experience I had to do that from quite an early stage. I don't think that's a bad thing. I had some great
definitely a bit of a
people.
salesperson at the same time, don't you?
It is, although my husband would say it took me a while to learn that, because I was like, I'm not in sales.
I think you're a little bit of a sales.
But there is an element of that. It's very soft, though, instead. The sales is doing a good job for your clients.
Yeah.
If you do a good job for your clients, that says
it's a long-term
everything.
relationship. It's a slightly thing. I think it's more like a consultant role, isn't it? More than a salesperson. It is sales, but it's more.
You're a trusted advisor.
Yeah.
That's the position of what we do as solicitors for our clients. We are trusted advisors. We're there to help, point in the right direction, try and help you avoid the risks or manage the issues when things happen. So it shouldn't be just a distressed purchase. You're there kind of for the journey, certainly in the type of law that I do.
Yeah. I usually just ring you saying, what the fuck am I doing with this? Interesting. I wanted to try and get back to that. I need to ask you some more questions about having a career and being a mum, because I there must have been times in your career that you've like been stressed out of your mind trying to get around. Have your husband always been like there and you're trying to swindle it between the two? Because I struggle with it, Fiona, because I'm away quite a bit. So I'm like, sometimes, especially now some things have happened in the press, I always kind of get a little bit guilt, trying to do things and be things in that. Like I'm away and gets the week after the next filming with the BFA, then the weekend after that, and then something else and something else. So I know I've got a busy quarter coming up. Does that bother you in a way?
I think that you have different stages with your children. When my children were very young, it was important for me to be there at certain times to be there to read to them at night,
Yeah.
spend that quality time, to be there to literally help them do everything they need to do when they're really little. As they've grown, that role changes.
Right.
And I firmly believe that it's a village that raises a child. Don't think it's healthy that it's only just me. I believe that a wider number are part of that, and there's a mini team. I don't have a nanny or anything like that, but there's a mini team of people that help with our children. My husband is fantastic, and he's very hands-on. One of 3 boys with a mum that basically made sure that he could do everything, so that no woman would ever not be able to,
Cook,
do
clean,
something for him.
That.
Yeah, he can do it. He can do the whole lot, and he does. And we both do, because we share our responsibilities equally. But I think, for me, yes, there have been challenging moments with raising my boys, particularly when they were little, and there were so many things you needed to be at, and you couldn't necessarily do all of them.
Yeah.
But I feel that they've had a healthy upbringing in seeing me as a working mother out here, and that example is good for them, not a bad thing.
I love that. Thank you so much. It makes me so much peace. You've heard me talk about this case.
Oh, yeah.
It brings me so much peace that you say that, because that's what I think too.
Yes. That's important. I mean, I wasn't raised with parents that were around all the time. Mine worked all the time as well. In fact, my dad's favourite word was overtime. Yeah. So, that's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I think their values, my values, are the same.
Yeah. I'd rather be an inspiring dad, I always say. I'd try and be an inspiring dad.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it can be a little bit selfish if you're around your kids all the time, because you become their only world as well. And I think when they grow up a little bit older, like your boys are just going to end up clearing off soon. They're going to be sick of you and just go travelling the world. Or
they're teenagers now,
yeah.
So it's totally different.
Girlfriend's on the horizon. Fiona, who?
Oh no, girlfriend on.
Mum who?
Yeah, I do keep thinking of that because of how young I was when I met my husband, and I think, oh my God, I've got a 16-year-old. Really? Wow.
That's since 16, the same fella.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I need to have a good chat with him. I'm joking. Okay, so when you came to your career, you've gone into university. So you left school, you love school, you were doing your sports. What university did you go to?
Went to Leicester.
Leicester University.
Great uni.
Did you love it there, did you?
Yep, I absolutely did. I had some great friends that I made there. I enjoyed my degree after the first year. The first year you do all the core subjects, it's a little bit dry. Yeah. But in the second and third years you could do your options and things like that. I loved Leicester as a city. It was amazing and vibrant, and I could go out and dance to Bhangra and R&B in the same place, and it's fantastic.
And then, so did your boyfriend at the time go to the same uni, or did you jump?
No, he went to a different uni, so we travelled to each other. Yeah.
No way. And then you left uni, and where did you do your placements, and did you end up at the same law firm, or?
I used to work at the law centre in Leicester through uni, so I had 3 jobs and the law centre.
What were your other jobs?
Telesales, and then I was a host in Chiquitos, and then I did another sales role as well.
Just to pay the bills for being at uni?
Uni costs.
I love that about Fiona. I just cracked on and just made all the money into it. Did you stay in the halls, did you, for the university?
I did for the first year, and the second year we moved out, and then the third year we moved back in. Yeah.
And then you started at what law firm was it at?
I joined to do my training, what was then Freeth, Cartwright, Hunt and Dickens, and they are now Freeths.
I don't know then. I've got a clue who they are.
They're a regional law firm, but they were then primarily just in the Midlands.
And what did you start off doing? What law were you doing?
I qualified into corporate law, which was a surprise to me because before I started my journey in law, I didn't really know much about that. But on the legal practice course, which is the vocational course that you do before you start your training contract, they had a business law model, which I absolutely loved. And that's how I thought I knew I wanted to go into and explore that side of what law was. It wasn't something I was familiar with. The volunteer work I'd done at the law centre was primarily like housing queries and things like that. And I'd also done a mini pupillage with the Tooks Court Chambers, which was the chambers of Stephen Lawrence.
What the hell are you talking about? What?
It's where you get some experience shadowing a barrister.
Oh, right.
My mum was a wonderful networker. I've learnt my networking skills from her. She had a friend in the community whose son was a renowned barrister, Leon Daniels, and I had the pleasure of doing a mini pupillage with him and seeing the life of a barrister. So it's a little bit of work experience again to give an idea of whether I wanted to go into to the bar or to become a solicitor.
Right. What do you mean by to the bar? What's the difference between barrister and solicitor?
Barristers is court work only,
right.
And they're the ones that wear the weird wiggy things and the black gowns and things like that. And solicitors, you are in an office and you are very much where you're working.
Surely it's more fun to be in court, like sending people down and stuff like that.
My experience of the mini pupillage was wonderful. I saw some amazing things, but it definitely said to me that I did not want to go to the bar.
Why? Come on, tell me why.
It was crazy. They would have reams and reams of papers arrive the night before, and they'd be in court the next morning, and they would have to cram reading all of that to then go into court and represent somebody. And I just thought, whoa, I don't want to do that. I want to get to know the clients. I want to understand. And,
so that's the difference, right?
That's the big difference. And the court, if advocacy is for you, then you need to go and do the court stuff, and you're probably not that bothered about having the close relationship with the client in the same way as we do as the solicitors, where we are trusted advisors.
So if I shoot someone, I can't ring you to be my solicitor, you have to ring a barrister?
No, there are solicitors that would, if they're criminal lawyers, that would be representing you, yes, but then they would probably have to instruct a brief, which is a barrister, to do the court hearing.
And would solicitors' firms usually have a barrister, or is it a separate thing?
Separate things, although the lines are becoming blurred. There are some barristers that do work in law firms, right. And there are some solicitors that are also solicitor advocates in certain disciplines. But in the type of law that I do, which is commercial, and in particular it's non-contentious, i.e. I don't do the arguing court side of things, right. It's pretty unusual.
Right, okay. Learning everything new.
There you go. Welcome to the law.
No, yeah, it's good though. It's interesting. You don't know nothing about it. It's good to ask the blunt questions. It's interesting.
There are no dumb questions. There is just knowledge and learning. So,
you went to Leicester, loved it in Leicester. Passed first time flying colours.
I did.
Yeah, you would do. You're a massive geek, aren't you?
I'm a geek. I like studying. I like studying.
No, I thought you were going to say I dropped out, started taking loads of drugs. I've seen this lad. We just travelled to Beeford, but no. Passed first time, flying colours with a first.
I didn't get a first. I got a 2-1. I got an upper second, but I'm happy with that. Yes, that's good.
That's all right. And then you went to a firm and you did commercial law?
Yeah, I did the vocational course first, which is the LPC, and then I started my training contract after that.
Enjoy working there? Or?
I loved it. Great firm, great people. I really enjoyed the varying different areas that I did when I was there. I had a great bunch of trainees, several of whom I'm still in contact with now. It was a great time, really fun.
And then what made you move back home?
Well, I didn't move back home. I stayed in the Midlands, so I never went back to Buckinghamshire, and that happens to a lot of people when they come to study in a place. Yeah. Where I came from was a small sort of county town where if you wanted to go shopping, you actually had to get in your car and go to somewhere else to do it. Yeah. I loved being in what are the small cities of the Midlands, and the urban sprawl, but also the fact that you'd got the countryside just around the corner. It was all just there. It wasn't too big a city, just nice. So I came and studied, and stayed.
What did Mum think about that?
They're good, because you have to bear in mind, they are immigrants. They have travelled across the world. So in comparison, I was just on the doorstep, so it's not really a big deal. It's quite different. And also, historically, with West Indian families, we're all over the place. Yeah. My dad's family is spread, from America to Canada to wherever, brothers and sisters in different countries, etc. The fact that we're in the same country is fantastic.
Really? I didn't think about it like that, I suppose.
Economic migration has a lot to answer for.
I guess, I suppose if you don't want to go into hospitality, you live in Jamaica, you're pretty much stuck, aren't you? So that's, I suppose, if you want to get...
Well, also, the hospitality and the tourism industry has come up in the time when our parents were looking to come to here. There was opportunity in the UK. They were advertising for jobs in the NHS. They were advertising for jobs in lots of different parts, on the buses, whatever. There was opportunity, and a lot of Jamaicans are very entrepreneurial. You're a businessman, and they would want an opportunity to put those skills to work.
I understand that. I can see that. Interesting. So you stayed in Leicester with the boyfriend, or? No,
we stayed in the Midlands, not in Leicester. So first off, I sort of went to travel. My husband had a couple of years left of what he was doing study-wise.
What's he done?
So he was at business school.
Right.
So I went to stay with him for a bit, and then we moved back to the Midlands again when I started my training contract.
And then when did you get married?
Well, it's my 20th wedding anniversary next year.
Oh, nice.
So.
A long time. So you got married 20 years ago, and then did you buy a house and live in the Midlands, or did you move back to Buckinghamshire?
No, we stayed. So we basically stayed here, because to us it was actually quite a nice place to raise a family, and our parents were getting older, and mine were going to be retiring, and they weren't going to be staying in the UK. So for that there wasn't necessarily we need to move back to be close to the family, to have the people help with the kids and such. That wasn't a huge option at that time. So we thought, well, where would we like to be? We'll just choose a city where you can have a good family life.
Yeah. Okay. I'm slowly getting through your life. I'm trying my hardest here. So you stayed in Leicester, stayed in the Midlands, and now. So how did you move back to Buckinghamshire? Did you move?
I'm not in Buckinghamshire.
Oh, why are you now Leicester still?
I'm still in the Midlands.
Are you still in the Midlands?
Yes.
Why did you? Oh, right. So okay. So
no, Buckinghamshire was my home.
Right. Okay.
Hometown. Yeah.
So you still live there now?
Yeah.
And then you raised the kids?
Still in the Midlands, still raising them. So yes, I now have children that have Midlands accents, not a Brummie one, but we've got a few A-ups coming up in there, and snickets and ginnels and jitties. And if you're from the Midlands and the part that I'm from, you'll know what that means.
Yeah. And then, so when did franchising come and knock on your door? How did you get into franchising?
I had my sons, and I was by then a commercial lawyer.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of retail clients. I was doing a lot of work in the retail sector. And I didn't choose franchising. I feel like it chose me, because it just so happened that a lot of my clients happened to franchise at that time. And I was really enjoying the work that I was doing. And I wanted to do more of it. So that's how it really happened. I think when you have life-changing incidents that happen in your life, it narrows your focus.
Was that the kids?
Yeah, I think so. It really narrows your focus, and you think, well, okay, where am I going next with this? Because I didn't want to stay. I never wanted to be a generalist. I didn't want to do everything like everybody, be a bit like, do a bit of every type of commercial law. I wanted to be part of a niche. I had a great one of the partners that in one of the teams that I work with gave us a book at one stage and some information about a legal author, and he's also a bit of a academic, and he talks a lot about what's happening in the law as a profession. His name is Dr. Richard Susskind, and at the time he was making some predictions about what was going to happen with the law as a sector, and he explained that in a number of years, effectively, to survive as a lawyer, you would either need to be in a niche or in-house, because there was going to be a whole change to the legal marketplace, because they were going to open it up to other providers to offer legal services like Tesco and such like. There was going to be Tesco Law. So he made a number of predictions, and we actually spent some time listening to what he was suggesting, and I was at I'd say a relatively formative part of my career, and I was thinking about, okay, what am I going to do next? And at that point in time I decided, actually, I'd like to be one of those people that does a niche. What do I like doing? And that's where it came from.
I suppose he's worked to a certain degree. I would say you're probably the most, I don't know if famous is the right word, but definitely the most well-known solicitors in the franchise world, aren't you? So,
well, I think if you like what you do and you enjoy the work that you do, I think that is something which possibly follows, because I don't think it's... If you don't enjoy it, then you wouldn't want to do it the way that we do it as lawyers, because you have to immerse yourself in it, you have to understand it. And it's also a great sector, Ryan. You know, I didn't choose an area of law or a sector which was dry or I didn't understand or I didn't feel that I could connect with. I like franchising, I like the people in franchising. There's a lot to be said for that.
Do you think you need to immerse yourself in everything you do to become successful at it?
I think if you love what you do, that happens naturally.
Yeah. That gives you that purpose piece, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think so too. I always feel sad when I meet people who... So one of my... I don't know, do you ever think about what your core beliefs are?
Yes.
Do you? One of my core beliefs, I'm trying to figure out if you can... I can't always verbalise my core beliefs, and that's my... I don't know if it's dyslexia or just lack of being intelligent, but...
Why do you say that, Ryan? Why do you say lack of being intelligent?
Well, I just can't always get what I think in my head out. It takes me a little bit of time.
That's the opposite of not being intelligent, though. That's your brain is processing so much all the time. There's so much going on in there because you are so tuned to things that you just can't get it out. That's not lack of intelligence.
Never really thought about it like that. You probably could, you might, I don't know. I wouldn't like to say, but you could be right.
It's just processing it.
Yeah, so one of my things is I hate missed opportunity. I hate it. Like, when I see someone with talent working in a firm that isn't applying themselves, or they haven't got the right people around them not applying themselves, I just think it's so... I hate it. Like, it saddens me so much. Even people who work for me and they're missing their opportunity, it absolutely deeply it gets me really sad, and I really want to do something about it. I think that when I meet people who are, I don't say anything because I don't think it's my place to say something, but if you meet someone and they haven't really found something from a career, or they don't necessarily find a career, but they have something that is a hobby that they've made amazing, or they've found something that sets them a light on fire and then created something from it. Like, some people don't have an amazing career, but they might do something that's amazing that they love, and that's part of their life, and I love that. But if you have someone who's full of some amazingness and then they're in something that isn't, do you understand what I mean by that?
I do. It's tricky if they're failing to maximise their potential. That's what it is. And it might be because we're older and we realise that life's fast.
Yeah.
And that actually you need to get on with it.
Yeah. There's one particular person, I'm not going to mention names, they're in a firm and they come from an amazing family. They're amazing at the job, but the people running the firm don't grab that. And they sit in that role, and I just think, oh, God, your life is flying by like a Star Wars movie. Every year you're in the same position doing the same thing because that person who's in charge of that company doesn't see that vision part, doesn't understand that, and actually they're probably better than you and they should let you fly. I just find it so hard that.
It's really hard, but we have agency. All of us as human beings. That individual has a choice.
Yeah, it's true.
And if their light isn't being recognised where they are, they need to move to where it is.
Yeah, it's a very diplomatic answer, that, Fiona.
But in life, sometimes people won't see your glow.
Yeah.
They won't. Sorry, Kate, I'm breaking the place.
I'm not whacked it yet, but I keep moving this.
But they won't. And, you're not always in a place where your glow shines. You have to find your home.
Yeah. Can I ask what your core beliefs are? Or do you know, have you got them in your head, or do you ever think about them? Or
I don't know if I can verbalise them. I believe in community. I believe in living your values. So if you say you're Christian, do good.
Yeah.
If you are a family person, be there for your family in the way that you can.
Yeah.
If you're a good friend, be a good friend. So I'm about action.
Yeah.
Demonstrating who you are. Living a decent life.
Yeah.
And giving back, actually, helping others, bringing others through the journey. In my time, I've had people give me guidance and support to be where I am. And I am grateful for that.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for the opportunities that have been available to me and which I've been able to take along that journey. And I think it's important to enable others to do the same.
Yeah. I also think it's part of the learning, being able to share. I feel like that's the success. The word success is always the same for me. There's no point being successful on your own. And if you're learning as an individual, and as you're learning, if you're not passing that information, what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah, that's very much the case.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. I've got someone who works for me at the minute, and their learnings at the minute and what they're going through, I can see they go through multiple of emotions every week, learning to become like a leader and a manager and stuff like that. And I'm like, but make sure as you're going through it, make sure you act differently and behave differently, and then pass them skills on to other people beyond you, because there's no point just sitting with it yourself. You kind of have to move on for it.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing for you, isn't it? I guess you'll be passing yours on, and you've been given some skills on the way along. It's part of the journey, isn't it?
It is part of the journey.
To
me, part of the life journey.
Yeah. How did you move from? So what's like the rankings, Fiona? Is it like sergeant, major? What's the ranking? What's the ranking?
Different firms have different things. So I started as a solicitor, and then you go up to associate, and then you went up to senior associate, and then from there, some firms have a choice of positions. You can be a director or a partner, and I went from senior associate to partner because that's the system that it had at the firm.
What does it mean to be a partner? What does it mean?
Different things at different firms. So when I was part of a law firm and not a professional services firm where I am now, that meant that you were part of the decision-making process for the business and responsible for that as part of it, in law anyway.
Yeah.
At the current firm that I am, or everybody, because it's a PLC, below the board level is an employee.
Right, okay. I still don't know what that means, but it sounds good. I guess it's as high as you can get without creating your own law firm. Is that probably it?
That's it. You have at the stage that I am at, you have a client base, you have an established experience and expertise in a niche and/or area of your legal practice. So that's principally what it recognises.
It's amazing, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got any other plans, anything going in the future, or are you just going to ride it out at nights and just see as little as you can do?
Yeah, I'll keep dossing.
Just do some more podcasts.
I'm going to continue doing what I do, which is loving franchising, serving my clients well, enjoying what I do, training others, bringing others through into the practice area that I am in. I enjoy that.
Yeah. Have you got someone working under you now you're working with at the minute?
I have a lovely assistant who's joined the team recently, and I love training people. I enjoy it. It's a thing that I get a lot of joy from, helping them on their journeys.
I need what do you must struggle with something, Fiona. There must be something you get. You can't be good at everything. Fuming with you.
Well, to me, I'm not trying to be, because I don't believe that life is that perfect. You know, you drop the ball every now and again on something. I can remember one thing with my husband one time. We've got parents' evening, and I'm pretty organised. So I've got it in the calendar, and we've got family calendar. We've got the family digital calendar. Everybody's got different colours. And I'm at my desk, and it's 4:00. And I look at the calendar entry, because I've told him there's parents' evening. And I've put it in the calendar as a digital, because sometimes they're digital these days, particularly post-COVID. And I look at the calendar entry and I realise it's not digital. Oh, no. It's in person, and he needs to get to the school in the next 10 minutes or he's going to miss his slot. And you know what parents' evenings like. Yeah. You've got 5 minutes with each one. And and if you miss your slot, everybody else is just... So, and it's just ridiculous. So, yeah, it's not... Life is a muddle sometimes, but you just go with it. I enjoy it. I love having my kids and my husband and my job and having it all in the melee of what it is. I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, I have a child who has challenges in life, and he's taught me so much about enjoying what you do, talking to people. I've learned so much from him about trusting the journey. Yeah, of course you can.
What challenges does he come with?
He
pull apart being a man.
Well, no, but I mean his attitude to life, I think, is fantastic. He is the friendliest person I know. He'll speak to anybody. He'll go up and introduce himself and say, "Can I join in?"
I love that.
And everybody's his friend, and he just has a different perspective on life that is refreshing and is just a constant reminder to me to be grateful, because there are angels out there.
I fully understand that. I love that, Fiona. I think you're probably one of the most empathetic people I've ever met in my entire life. You're definitely solidly grounded, aren't you, about how you deal with things. You're a man with my mum. In that respect, my mum's the same. It doesn't seem to... I don't think I've ever... Mum's flipped out on me about twice in my whole life. There's good grounds to the two flippings. But yeah, it's a better way to live life, I think, sometimes. Try and take something for myself, but I'm just a man. I can't do anything like that. Man.
You're not just a man. You're a successful man running a successful business. That takes a lot, Ryan. Give yourself some credit.
Yeah, chaos. Okay. I think I've got into this again a little bit. You're so good because you're a solicitor. You're so good at playing your cards. I love it. Thank you for coming on, Fiona.
Thank you for asking me. And I know you've done it quite a long time ago, so I apologise for how long it's taken me to accept.
You're a busy lady.
I am. But I'm here, and
the franchise industry
I've
needs
enjoyed
you, Fiona.
it. It's good. Thank you, Ryan.
So you're definitely nothing to do with fashion? Nothing.
I've definitely nothing to do with fashion.
I love
colour.
Okay.
I love clothes.
The last time I seen you had knee-high boots on, leather pants on, a rucksack on. I was like, what the... I was like, has this woman got...
I do like a bit of leather. Yeah. You'll have to edit that out.
That's the opening gambit, Fiona. That's the intro. There's no way we're not letting that go. That is not getting edited out. I love that about you. It's so nice to get to know you a little bit.
You're welcome.
That's it. I'm going to finish the podcast there.